Hi, my name is Bill Raymond, and I want to thank you for purchasing one of my AI training workshops. Now, you will receive an email once you sign up that links you to a page that you will need to follow in order to get everything set up. Now, your instructions may vary from this video. However, the things that I'm about to show you are almost always universal. So, for example, you might receive a page like this that says to install products like Visual Studio Code, Codex, Claude, Git. All these products are important for setting up a coding environment. Now, don't worry, even if you don't know these products, I'm going to walk you through them, and very little will have to be done with most of them. Let's go ahead and get started. You should assume that this will probably take you about 1 hour to do if you've never installed these products before. Go to code.visualstudio.com. Here you will find the code editor that we're going to work with. This is free and open source, and it's from Microsoft. What you can do is go to the download link that you find. Whether you're on Windows, Mac, or Linux, it should automatically detect that and you can select it. But of course, you can also find your other platform with another link if you do not see yours there. So go ahead and download that. There is no sign up required to use this product. I'm here at the pricing page. You'll see that there's a free, Go, Plus, and Pro. It's the Plus that you want, the $20 a month plan. Of course, this is a video, so it's possible these prices have changed, but the Plus plan is a great way to get started, and it will be plenty for your training program. And of course, it's monthly, so you can cancel anytime after you're done with the training. We'll go over here to Claude. Claude offers free, Pro, and Max. What you want to do is go for, at minimal, the Pro plan. Now, the Pro plan, you can either sign up for yearly or monthly. I would go with the monthly if you're still unsure of which platform you want to use to code. After you're signed up with one of these plans, you can move on to the next step. Here, you're going to download a product called Git. So once again, you'll find the install area, and this particular one says install for Mac, but you'll notice that when I select this, it gives you instructions on how to do that for Windows, Mac, Linux, and others. Now, this is a little bit more involved. You can see here with Windows, there's a click here to download, but it also provides you with all these other ways of downloading for different chipsets. I know this might be a little confusing, so if you're not sure, just always select the click to download option. With Mac OS, you are going to have to install using this thing called Brew. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a moment. And with Linux, you'll also have to go through a number of different steps. I rarely get people using Linux that are on my training program, so I'm not going to walk through this. Use the contact button on the CameraMast website to reach out to me, and I will happily walk through this with you. So let's go back to this Mac OS version here for a moment, and I'm going to walk you through these steps. When you work with coding tools, you'll find that you need to use this thing called a terminal. We'll talk about this in the training. For now, what I want you to do is press Command Space on your keyboard and then type the word terminal and press return. I'll expand this window to full size and then I'll zoom in. Now, in order to install Git, you need to use what's called a package manager. Git is a program that will allow you to manage your source control. And again, we're going to talk about that when we get started in the training. For now, what you need to do is install this thing called Homebrew, which is a very well-known and accepted product in the coding community. And we'll type the following command. Now, I know that what you're seeing right here is a lot, So refer back to the instructions page or in the description of this video, and you'll be able to copy and paste this and run it. So what it's doing here is it's going out to a website and it's downloading this product called Homebrew. I'm going to go ahead and press return. It's going to ask me for my password. Now, this is not Homebrew asking me for my computer's password. This is your Mac making sure that you are allowing this product to install. So I'm going to type my Mac password, and don't worry, I'm not giving it to any other external website. Great. Once you successfully type in your password, what we'll ask is if it's okay to install Homebrew. And you just want to press return or enter on your keyboard to continue that process. The steps might take a while to complete, so you can just hang out until it's done. Great. You can see that it's done, and I know it's done because there was a little beeping sound, but also you can see down here, it has my name at MacBook Pro, and there's a little cursor sitting here, so I can continue on. I'm going to type the word clear, and that will get me back to just a clean screen so we can do the next step. Now, what I just did was I put the Git installation instructions on the left, and then I have the terminal on the right. So now that we have brew installed, what we'll type is brew install git. That's this line right here that you see underneath Homebrew, and I'll press return. Great. So Homebrew has been installed, but we're not done configuring Git yet. This part of the video is for Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever operating system you're running, you will need to follow these steps. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is make sure that you are at git-scm.com. Locate the Learn section, and then locate the book. And you'll notice that it says Git book here, and it's book on the left. It doesn't matter, so go ahead and select that. In the book, you're going to find a Getting Started section. And then you'll notice there's a First Time Git Setup link. So go ahead and select that. Now, it's going to give you a whole bunch of information here. I'm going to give you the few things that you must do. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is copy this line here, which is about your identity. So when you are working with source control, you could be collaborating with people. So maybe I'm writing some code and your partner is writing some code. So what you want to do is make sure that you're distinguishable between each other. And you do that by configuring a username and your email address. So if you don't feel like using your real name or your real email, then that's okay. You can do that. But here we go. I'm going to copy this line. In Windows, you're going to open the command prompt. And so go to the Start menu, search for command prompt, and that will open up. In Mac, do Command space on your keyboard and type terminal and press return. I'm going to put the instructions on the left and the terminal on the right. I'm going to paste this text over here, and it says git config username, and it starts with John Doe. I'm going to change that to Bill Raymond. Now you'll notice that it does wrap around for me. If I expand this window, you can see it's still one line. Make sure that your name is in quotes. So go ahead and put that back here. And then press return. If nothing happens, that's a good thing. If there's an error, then copy and paste this again and just make sure that you have the quotes and the spaces, everything the way they need to look. Next, you will copy that git config with the email address. Go ahead and paste that in. And if you want to stick with the fake one, you can. I'm going to go ahead and put my real email address in there. So once again, this is wrapping for me. So that's what the whole line looks like right there. All of these instructions are also in the description in this video. So once you press return, nothing should happen, or it should say okay or something. So long as you're not seeing any errors, you're all good. The next thing we're going to do is scroll down and set the default branch. Now it says your default branch name. Some time ago, when Git originally came out, the default branch name was master. And given some of the concerns around using that word, it was changed to main. And so I like to do this because all of the major products that are out there that use any kind of Git capabilities will use main now. So what we're going to do is select this git config global, and then it sets to main. So I'll go ahead and paste this in. Once again, I'll stretch out the terminal window so you can see it's one line. And so you're going to type git config global init default branch main and press return. Now you might be thinking we're going to be doing a lot of this during the training. And as a matter of fact, we won't. We'll be typing prompts, and our AI is going to do much of what I'm showing you here for us. But this is the initial setup that we do have to do. Now, Git is a tool that we installed on our computer so that we can manage the code here while we're working. However, if we want our code to remain up in a safe space, if we want to collaborate with others on our code, what we need to do is make sure we put that up onto GitHub. So GitHub is just a fancy version of Git with a user interface and all that, and we'll get more into that during the training. Sign up. You're going to get your standard sign up form, email, password, what have you. You sign up whichever way you want. Make sure that if you receive an email that you do verify over there. That may or may not happen depending on the option that you select. But if you don't, then you won't be able to use GitHub. Now, the last major thing that we're going to install on our computer is a product called Docker. And again, we'll cover this in the training. When you start coding with AI, it will say, oh, you asked me to do this, but I can't do this. So I'm going to go install some software. And then you'll ask it to do another thing, and it'll say, I can't do that other thing. So we'll go and install more software. Here's the problem. It's going to start installing software on your computer, and you're going to get loaded up with all of these things, and you don't know what they are, and they could have security vulnerabilities. Well, the way we get around this is we take all of our products and we put them in this thing called a container, a Docker container that's secure. And that's sort of like our little playground for working with our code. So we're not installing too much software on our computer. So that's what this is all about. What I want you to do is sign up for the product. And interestingly, if you need to sign up, you select sign in. Okay. And then you'll find the sign up link on the page. And then once again, follow that same process. Sign up, check your email to make sure there isn't a verification step, and then you are all set. But the problem is that you just have an account. You don't actually have the software installed on your computer. So what you need to do is download the Docker desktop. So I'm back here on the home page, and we're going to go to Products and then choose Docker Desktop. Now, it might try to sell you on something. You can download the free Docker Desktop. So just choose the Download Docker Desktop for the computer type that you have. Chances are the default is always going to be at the top, the one that your computer has been detected. It knows what to do, and you just select that one. Once you've installed Docker on your computer and run the setup program, you will see a program like this. You'll have to run Docker, and you will see this. It's called the Docker dashboard, and it's also the Docker desktop. But you'll notice on the right-hand side, you probably have a button that says sign in. What I want you to do is select that and choose the sign in option using that same email address that you used earlier. So what I want you to do is just go to that sign in option and make sure that after you're signed in, you see your personal information using that email address you have. So you can see I'm signed in as Bill Raymond right here. And then you can just go ahead and minimize that or close it. Just so you know, Docker will be running as a little separate service. So you'll see that up here in the menu bar in your Mac, or you'll see that in the system tray in Windows. Now, earlier, I asked you to install Visual Studio Code. What I'd like you to do is run that right now. What we're going to do is do all of our coding inside of Visual Studio Code using AI. But we can't do that until we've installed the right product. And you do that by way of putting extensions in here. And so I'm going to walk you through setting up the extensions that are required in order for you to use this product for my training. So what I'd like you to do is look over on the left sidebar over here. It might be on the right for you, but you'll see these icons like Explorer, Search, Source Control. Look for the puzzle pieces, the extensions, and select that one. And by the way, I have more extensions installed, so your sidebar won't look exactly like mine. So go ahead and choose extensions. And then we're going to do the ChatGPT one first. So if you've purchased ChatGPT, this is what you're going to follow along with. If you haven't, you're using Claude, then just skip ahead to that section in this video. I'm going to type in the extensions bar, Codex. So ChatGPT's coding tool is called Codex. So if I select this, I want to make sure that it does say OpenAI. There are companies that also call their things Codex. I don't know who those are. You want to find the one that says OpenAI with the checkbox, and then select the install button. Once that's happened, I'm going to go ahead and collapse the extensions by selecting this little box here. And I'm also going to close this tab that's open, so it's nice and clean. We have no more tabs open here in Visual Studio Code. Now, on the left-hand side, you're going to find a Codex icon. And it looks like this. It looks like the OpenAI logo. If you don't see that, look for the additional views, the 3 dots, and maybe it's in there. But you should be able to see that now. Select Codex. And here, you can see that I had Codex installed, but if you did not, it's going to ask you to log in. It's going to send you to a website to log in at OpenAI's website. And then after you've successfully logged in, it will say, okay, you can start using Codex. And then there'll be a little wizard where you just have to click the next or continue button a few times, and you're here. If you decided to work with Claude Code, what you need to do is install the extension to Visual Studio Code to run it. So you'll come over here to the extensions icon, and that's this one with the boxes. It looks like a bunch of puzzle pieces. So we'll go ahead and select that. And in the search bar, we'll search for Claude. And here you can see Claude by Anthropic. I always like to open it up and double check a few things. Do I see the checkbox? Do I see that it's from anthropic.com? There are other things here that call themselves Claude Code. We want to make sure that we're using the one from the company Anthropic. So now when we see that, we go ahead and click the install button. I'm going to close any open tabs, and I'm also going to click this extensions button one more time so that I have a nice clean screen in Visual Studio Code. What I'm going to do now is look along the left bar here for the Claude icon. If I don't see it here, then try looking underneath the 3 dots additional views. You may or may not have those 3 dots, but if you do and you can't find the Claude icon, then try there. Okay, so I can see Claude very clearly here in my extensions list. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. Now here's what's important. When you are installing the Claude Code environment, you can decide whether or not you're going to pay by use, which means to use your credit card and use Claude as you're going. And that's using what's called their API. And what happens is the more you use it, the more your credit card purchase goes up. But you do have some amount of free tokens, as they call them, with your Claude purchase. So what you want to do is choose your Claude AI subscription. So go ahead and select that. And now it will ask you if you want to open the external website. I'm going to pull that over here so you can see what's happening. And just like with ChatGPT, it'll ask you some questions to log in. And then once you're logged in, then Visual Studio Code will come back and say you're all set. So go ahead and do that now. And I will do that as well so you can see what my screen looks like. Okay, so I entered my email address. I went through a few steps, and now it's asking, do I want to authorize Claude? And then I'll receive this authentication code. I'm going to copy this code, and I'll go ahead and paste that in here in Visual Studio Code and continue. There we go. Claude Code is set up. That doesn't look like much, but this is going to be the magic of where we work with AI coding. So I can always just close this Claude Code down by pressing the little icon in the extensions bar here, and we're good to go. Great. So now that you have done all of this, make sure that you go through the steps on this page and that you left nothing out. And once you're done, you're ready for the training. Now, again, I set you up with tools that every software developer is going to need. However, let's be real, you're not going to be using a lot of these in detail. You're going to be focusing on using prompts to create code. And that's what we're going to focus on in our course. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you there.